Here is the finding that stopped me cold when I first read it. For decades, most of us have assumed that staying flexible is the secret to avoiding falls as we age. But when researchers followed thousands of older adults, the people most likely to fall were not necessarily the stiffest ones. They were the people who had lost the ability to generate force quickly and to react the moment their balance was suddenly challenged.
Wait, Claire, I have to jump in right now because I do exactly what you are describing. Every morning I stand in the kitchen, hold onto the counter, stretch my hamstrings, try to touch my toes, and I have told myself for years that this is what keeps me safe. Are you saying all that stretching has been missing the point?
I am not saying stretching is bad. It feels good, it keeps your joints moving comfortably, and it certainly has a place. But if your main goal is preventing a fall, flexibility alone is one of the weakest predictors of who actually falls. The strongest protection comes from something different.
Okay, now I feel like I have been doing the right thing for the wrong reason. What is the thing that actually works?
Welcome to Longevity Lab. I am Claire.
And I am Robert. Claire, this one already sounds like it is going to change something I do every single morning.
Today we are talking about flexibility, balance, and the surprisingly simple way to reduce the risk of falling as we get older. We are going to separate what actually protects people from what the wellness industry has told us for years.
And I suspect I am going to question my entire stretching routine. So let us get into it.
Let us start with the fact that makes this conversation matter. According to the World Health Organization, falls are the second leading cause of unintentional injury death worldwide, and adults over 60 have the highest number of fatal falls. In the United States, roughly 1 in 4 adults over 65 falls every year.
I actually know someone who fell last winter. Just stepping off a curb, she broke her wrist, and then the recovery really knocked her confidence. She started moving less, and that made everything harder. So this feels personal to me.
That pattern is extremely common. And here is where the wellness industry often gets it wrong. It tells us to stretch more, stay loose, and chase flexibility, as if flexibility were the shield against falling. But the data tells a much more useful story.
I will confess, I have believed exactly that. More yoga, more touching my toes, more gentle stretching. Every health magazine I read as I got older said flexibility is the key to healthy aging.
And it is one part of healthy aging. But for fall prevention specifically, flexibility is not the main event. Researchers who study falls look at your walking speed, your ability to stand from a chair without using your hands, your single leg stance time, and how quickly your muscles respond when your balance is thrown off. Those measures predict falls far better than how far you can reach toward your toes.
That makes sense when you describe it, but honestly, I thought if my hamstrings were long enough, I would not trip. Where did that idea even come from?
I think it comes from a very human shortcut. We feel stiff, so we assume stiffness causes falls. But a fall usually happens in a split second. You catch your toe on a rug, you step off an uneven curb, a dog pulls the leash. What saves you is not the length of your hamstring in that moment. What saves you is whether your brain can sense that your body is off balance and whether your leg muscles can produce force fast enough to take a recovery step.
So when you say produce force fast enough, what exactly is happening between the brain and the leg? I had no idea that was the mechanism.
There are 3 systems that keep you upright. The first is your vision, which tells you where the horizon is and whether the floor is moving. The second is your vestibular system, a tiny balance organ in your inner ear that senses head movement and gravity. The third is proprioception, which is your body's internal GPS. It tells your brain where your joints are even when you are not looking at them.
Like when I can walk through a dark bedroom without seeing my feet.
Exactly. Your proprioceptors in your muscles and joints are sending constant signals to your brain about your position. If one of those systems gets weaker, the others have to work harder. And here is the crucial part. Your muscles also have to be able to respond. If you start to fall, your ankle, hip, and core muscles need to generate force in milliseconds. That responsibility is called power. And power is different from strength.
I always thought strength and power were the same thing. What is the difference?
Strength is how much force you can produce. Power is how quickly you can produce it. Think of strength as the size of your engine, and power as how fast you can hit the accelerator. As we get older, we lose fast twitch muscle fibers faster than slow twitch fibers. Fast twitch fibers are the ones that give you speed and quick reactions. That loss of power is a big reason why a small stumble becomes a fall.
So it is not just that my legs are weaker, it is that they are slower to react. That is a distinction I have never thought about.
And it is the distinction that matters for fall prevention. Stretching changes how far a joint can move, but it does very little to train the nervous system and fast twitch fibers to fire quickly when you need to catch yourself. That is why balance training and power training are so important.
Okay, so now I need the actual evidence. What do the studies show when they compare stretching to balance training?
This is the finding that surprised me most when I first came across it. A 2019 Cochrane systematic review, which is one of the most rigorous types of evidence we have, combined data from 108 randomized controlled trials involving more than 23,000 older adults. The researchers found that exercise programs reduced the rate of falls by 23% and reduced the number of people who experienced at least one fall by 15%.
Wait, so exercise really can cut falls by almost a quarter?
Yes. But here is the detail that matters. The most effective programs did not just involve stretching, they combined balance challenges, lower body strength work, and functional movements that mimic real life. The researchers were clear that passive stretching alone was not where the protective effect came from.
I have been spending all that time touching my toes, and I was basically doing the least effective part.
I would not be that harsh. Your toe touch probably helped you feel good and move more easily. But if fall prevention is the goal, you were underusing the most powerful tools.
That honestly makes me feel a little foolish, but also kind of energized. It means I can do better without spending more time.
That is the right way to look at it. Balance is a skill, not just a muscle. And like any skill, it improves with practice, but the practice has to be challenging enough to create a wobble. If you stand perfectly still and comfortable, your balance system is not adapting.
So a safe wobble is the goal?
Exactly. A safe wobble is the signal that your brain and muscles are learning. You always want to be near a counter or sturdy chair, so if the wobble becomes a stumble, you can catch yourself. But those little corrections are what build the system.
So what would a practical routine look like for someone like me at home without a gym?
Start with a single leg stance test. Stand next to a counter or a sturdy chair, have a timer ready, and lift one foot just off the floor. You do not need to raise it high, just clear the ground. Time how long you can balance without grabbing the support. A 2022 study published in the British Journal of Sports Medicine followed more than 1,700 adults aged 51 to 75 for around 7 years and found that the ability to hold a 10-second one-leg stance was a powerful marker of current and future health. Balance is not a party trick, it is a vital sign.
10 seconds does not sound like much, but I have a feeling it is harder than it sounds when I actually focus on it.
It can be. And if you cannot do 10 seconds, that is not bad news. It is information. Start with 5 seconds, 3 times on each side, a few times a day. Over a few weeks, progress to 15, and then 30 seconds.
I can stand on one leg in the kitchen while I wait for the kettle to boil. That is realistic for me. So the single leg stance test is basically a quick vital sign. Should I do it every morning?
You can check it once a week to see your trend, but do not turn it into a performance test that stresses you out. Use it as feedback. If your time drops suddenly, it might be because you slept poorly, had a heavy leg day, or were stressed. That is okay. What matters is the long-term direction.
That is good to know because I would probably get competitive with myself and then fall over.
And that is why we always do it near support. Another powerful exercise is the sit to stand. Sit in a chair, cross your arms over your chest, and stand up without pushing off your hands. Then sit back down slowly. That builds lower body strength and the power you need to get up from the floor, the toilet, or a low sofa.
I do that 10 times before lunch, but I usually push off with my hands without thinking. Now I will keep my arms crossed.
As it gets easier, slow the sitting part down to 3 seconds or pause halfway. That trains the eccentric control that protects your knees and hips. You can also practice tandem walking, which is walking heel to toe along a line, like a field sobriety test. Do it near a wall or counter at first. That narrows your base of support and wakes up your balance system.
So I do not need to join a fancy class or buy special equipment.
No, a sturdy chair, a counter, a clear kitchen floor, and a few minutes a day are enough to start. The research suggests that 20 to 30 minutes, 3 times a week, combining balance and lower body strength, meaningfully reduces fall risk. But consistency beats intensity, especially at first.
What about walking? I walk 45 minutes every day, and I always assumed that was enough.
Walking is excellent for your heart, your mood, your blood sugar, and your independence. But for fall prevention specifically, regular walking on flat, predictable ground does not challenge your balance very much. It is steady state movement. You are not stepping over obstacles, shifting weight suddenly, or recovering from a wobble. So walking counts for general health, but it may not be enough to protect you from a fall, unless you add balance challenges.
That is a relief because I thought I had to choose between walking and doing this new routine. Now I see I can keep walking and add a few minutes of balance work. What about swimming or cycling? Do they help balance?
They are excellent for cardiovascular health and lower body strength, but they do not challenge balance in the same way because you are seated or supported by water. You still need standing balance practice on land to protect yourself in real life.
So it is about matching the training to the actual situation. That makes sense.
And if you have severe osteoporosis, inner ear problems, foot neuropathy, a history of dizziness, or if you have already fallen and feel anxious about movement, please check with your doctor or a physical therapist before starting. Some people benefit from a professional balance assessment first. But for most people, starting small with safe support is reasonable.
You mentioned ankle and hip muscles. What do they actually do when I start to fall?
If you sway slightly, your ankle muscles fire first to pull you back over your base of support. That is the ankle strategy. If the perturbation is bigger, your hip muscles kick in to shift your center of mass quickly. In a sudden trip, you may need a step strategy, which is taking 1 or 2 rapid steps to catch yourself. All of these require speed and power, not flexibility.
So I am training the step strategy when I do the balance exercises.
Exactly. Even a slow single leg stance trains the sensory side. Then, as you progress to stepping over objects or doing quick step ups, you train the rapid response side. Both matter.
I want to know about Tai Chi. You mentioned programs that combine balance and movement. Does Tai Chi count?
Tai Chi is one of the best studied forms of balance training. It combines slow weight shifting, single leg stances, and continuous movement, all while keeping your attention on your body position. A 2019 review in the Journal of the American Geriatric Society found that Tai Chi significantly reduced both the rate of falls and the risk of falling in older adults. Programs typically run 2 to 3 times per week, and the effect grows with practice.
My neighbor does Tai Chi in the park every morning with a group. She is 78 and moves like someone 20 years younger. Maybe I will join her.
That is a wonderful idea. Group programs also add social connection, and that matters for health too. But you can start at home even without a class. The fundamental ingredient is to challenge your balance safely and consistently.
I think part of my problem is that I have been afraid of wobbling. After my friend fell, I started moving more cautiously, and I wonder if that actually made me less stable.
That is such an important point. Fear of falling creates a cycle. You feel unsteady, so you move less. And when you move less, your balance and power get worse, which makes you feel even more unsteady. The evidence is clear that safe, progressive balance training breaks that cycle. It gives your brain and body evidence that you can handle a wobble and recover.
My friend who fell became afraid to walk outside without someone with her. You are saying that fear itself made her weaker?
Not weaker in a moral sense, but physically her system's deconditioned. Fear of falling is one of the strongest predictors of future falls because it changes how people move. They take shorter, shuffling steps, they tense their bodies, they avoid the exact challenges that keep their balance sharp. A safe, progressive program helps restore confidence.
That is actually hopeful. It means we can do something about the fear, not just the muscles.
If this is changing how you think about your morning stretch, take a second to subscribe to Longevity Lab. We release a new evidence-based episode every day, and our goal is to give you one clear, usable health insight each time.
And share this episode with someone you care about. Fall prevention is not something most people talk about until after a fall. Let us start the conversation earlier. Before we wrap, I want to be sure I have the main pieces. What are the 3 most important habits for someone who wants to stay upright and independent?
First, train your balance like a skill, at least 3 times a week. Use single leg stances, tandem walking, and safe wobble challenges. Second, build lower body power with sit-to-stands, step-ups if you have a safe step, and maybe some faster movements when you are ready. Third, keep doing aerobic activity like walking or swimming for your heart and metabolic health, but do not assume that steady walking alone will protect you from a fall.
And keep stretching, but remember it is about comfort and mobility, not fall prevention.
Yes, that is it.
I'm going to write that down. Actually, I will just start tomorrow morning. Kettle on, stand on one leg for 10 seconds each side, then 10 sit-to-stands before my toast pops.
That is a perfect plan. But one more thing. The evidence also says to check your home for trip hazards. Review your medications with your doctor if you feel dizzy or sleepy, and get your vision checked. Fall prevention works best when you combine safe movement with a safer environment.
That is practical. I have a loose rug in the hallway that has been bugging me for months. It is gone this weekend.
I love that.
Claire, I had no idea that flexibility alone was such a weak protection. But now I feel like I can actually do something about my balance. And that is empowering.
And that is what we want. Today's rule is this: do not stretch in the hope that flexibility will save you. Train your balance like a skill, and build power in your legs. A few minutes of safe, wobbly practice most days can protect your independence more than an hour of passive toe touches.
I am going to keep stretching because it feels good. But from now on, the kettle time belongs to my balance.
That is a beautiful way to end. Thank you for being here with me.
Thank you, Claire. And thank you to everyone listening. If you found this useful, subscribe, share it, and we will catch you tomorrow on Longevity Lab.